Hello everyone, welcome back to yet another YouTube video. In this video, we're going to be going over covering setting up Jest tests as well as running some simple simple unit tests here. As normal, we're going to be using TypeScript instead of JavaScript. If you do use JavaScript, you do not need to install the TS-Jest library as one of the dependencies. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's first start out by running npm init. And this time we're just going to go through the standard config. Let's go ahead and leave that alone. We'll just leave it at version 1.0.0. We'll just do Jest testing. And enter point can be source/index.ts. Test command, that's fine. You can leave that blank for now. We'll go ahead and change it. I'll make this myself. License ISC is fine, and then we can just say, is this okay? Yes. Okay. So once that's done, we're going to go ahead and start by initializing it with a few packages. So what we're going to do is we're going to run npmi tac capd. We're going to do ts jest. We are going to do jest, ts node, and TypeScript. Okay. So once those have finished, let's create a jest config.ts file. So we'll go up here, we'll do jest.config .ts, and then we are going to make our tsconfig .json, and we're going to go ahead and initialize that. We're just going to be using a simple tsconfig, so compiler. We're going to just be using a simple tsconfig map. So we're just going to target ES5. Let's go ahead and add in the lib of ESNext. And then let's do allow.js. Probably leave that to true because there's going to be some JS files that we're going to be using. Probably want to do like a skip lib check here with the tests. True. And then we want to do ES module interop. You can leave that to true. A lot of these settings that I'm giving you guys for this are going to be usable in like an actual project. So like I'm setting this up as if I was setting it up inside of another project. Allow synthetic default imports. So want to do that as true. You want to leave this guy as strict. Strict needs to be set to true. We probably should do the module resolution as node. Resolve JSON module through, and then you want to do base URL as just the dot character. Here we're going to include paths, or include, sorry. And we just want to include source. Okay. So now that our tsconfig is set up, there is an error, but you can just ignore it. It's not really going to do anything. We need to go ahead and set up this jest config file. This is rather easy. We don't need to worry too much about it. So let's go ahead and start out by importing the type. We want the config from Jest, so that way we can properly type our stuff since we're using TypeScript. If you're not using TypeScript, then this isn't an issue. Yeah, I forgot the from Jest. Then we want to go ahead and import the compiler options from not TypeScript, from .tsconfig slash tsconfig.json. This guy should be lowercase c, and then we want to import. So we're gonna have to create a. I think that's, never mind. Paths to module name mapper is ts jest. So let's go ahead and make our Jest config. It's called Jest config. We'll type this as a config object. And there we go. So we're going to set auto mocking. We're going to set that to false. We don't want it to automatically mock. We want it to clear mocks as true because we don't want them specifically in our directories. Let's do collect coverage. Let's say true. And then we want to collect the coverage from. Let's go ahead and give it an array. And then we'll just do source, and we'll just do all files within source we want to collect our coverage from. Let's specify a coverage directory. We can probably do just like underscore tests underscore slash coverage. Probably good. Module paths, probably want to give it the compiler options .base URL. And then after that, we're gonna do the module name mapper. So here we're gonna want to do paths to module name mapper. So this isn't specifically something you 100% need to use. The only time you would really want to use this is if you're using tsconfig paths here, and then it will map them out basically using the module name mapper. So that's kind of what that's doing. And then we'll just do compiler options here, dot paths. And then below that, we want to define our preset. This is the preset that we are going to be using for Jest. So Jest will inherit the TS_Jest preset, which allows it to work with TypeScript. If you're not using TypeScript, you don't need to include this. Okay, so after we do that, let's go ahead and add in a snapshot resolver. Jest does have one on their website, so let's go ahead and just do scripts. Create a file or a folder called scripts, and then we'll just do Jest snapshot resolver.js. And so this Jest snapshot resolver, what it's going to do is it's going to resolve all of our snapshots. Jest does have one of these on their website that you guys can go ahead and copy. So let's do resolve snapshot path, and it wants a test path as well as a snapshot extension. And we are going to want to do test path dot replace tests underscore. Let me actually pull up Jest docs real quick. Jest docs. And let's get their module. Okay. So I went ahead and I found the documentation on this. So if you just want to copy paste that from resolver that they have, I'm just going to go ahead and do that. So let's go ahead and finish setting up this config file. We're going to go ahead and type in the path to our resolver. So we're going to do /scripts/jest snapshot resolver.js. Okay. After we do that, we want to pop in some test matches. And then we want to, for test match, we're going to want to do any directory, underscore tests, underscore any directory, and then this dot, and then we want to do our file extension. So JT, S is optional. There we go. Okay, so after test match, we're going to do test path ignore, because we need to, we don't want to process anything within like node modules. That'd be very bad. So let's do node modules, and obviously our underscore tests underscore function, or yeah, that's fine. I want to ignore those patterns there. Let's do roots real quick. We'll just do the root-dir. I think it's got to be a capital D actually. Okay, cool. So there's all of that. Let's go ahead and export that as default Jest config. That way Jest can pick it up. And there we go. So that is everything we need for Jest to set up doing any sort of testing. So now that we've finished that, let's go ahead and talk about Jest a little bit and what it does exactly. Jest is a testing framework for JavaScript. It can be used with TypeScript applications as well. Jest can be used without a config file. Just config files allow you to have a lot more configuration, obviously. It does come standard out of the box without one. But with most projects, you'll find that you'll like to use one for the added control. Jest does create snapshots, which makes managing your tests far easier. Jest will allow you to find bugs in your code as well. That's like one of its main uses is just finding like bugs. A lot of people do use Jest for like concurrency to make sure that their code continues to run the way that it did when they first developed it. If there are changes to it, you can update Jest and update your snapshots and stuff like that. So the tests are wonderful, and I believe honestly that they should be used in any application that will be used in a production app. You can use tests on React components as well, but we're not going to be covering that in this video. We'll probably cover that in a later video based off of this video. It's just a lot to go through and do tests like that. So without further ado, we're going to create a simple function. So let's go ahead and create a folder out here. We'll do source. And let's go ahead and create a file in there called index.ts. And inside of this index.ts, let's go ahead and we'll probably create a function called, we'll just do some like simple math. We'll just do like divide, right? We'll pass in two numbers. So we'll take, we'll say number and divisor. Okay. So now that we have those two parameters in, let's just go ahead and return the number, but divided by the divisor. Okay. These guys probably just because any type, you just give those a number type. Same with this one. Let's give that a number as well. All right. So now let's go ahead and create our test directory. And inside of this, let's just do index.test.ts. So now we have our Jest test file here. And then we can write a test real quick to define that, right? So one thing we're going to need to do is we are going to need to define this. Let's do divide. Equals require. I'm pretty sure you can use imports. Import divide from / source / index. And now we have this divide function, which we can now do our test on. So let's go ahead and describe this. And we'll just do divide. Text save dev at type / Jest. That works. Yeah, okay, so you just have to install the types for Jest. Because like I said, Jest should have this describe function, and then I always put my function name here for that. So let's go ahead and we'll say it divides the first number provided, or the LHS by the divisor, right? So then we want to expect the output of divide. Let's just do 6 and 3 dot 2 equal. And we can just say, so 6 divided by 3 is going to be 2. So we just want to expect 6 divided by 3 to be equal to 2. One thing we can do real quick is we can go to our package JSON and we can take this test thing and we can just do npx jest. and then we can do npm run test, or you can just type in npx jest, and then your jest test should technically run. If we set all this up, it should succeed, and you can see that our test has passed. So that is setting up a simple functional test for Jest. Let's do another one. So Jest has there are a few things to like note about Jest tests. You can manually specify what they're going to equal, like we did here. You have a couple of other things. You have, so say you have like .2b truthy, which is basically going to match like a Boolean to be or dot not dot to be truthy. So we don't want it to be truthy. It can be false. To be defined, I believe. So that would mean like there should always be an object there. It should never return undefined. To be undefined would mean that you'd want this to return undefined. You have .to match snapshot. You also have .to match object, which you can pass an object in there for your unit test to basically return or match at the end, which is essentially what snapshots are going to do, and that's what we're gonna do next. We're gonna talk a little bit about snapshots. So that's what we are going to be doing. Let's go ahead and head back into this index.tsx file and create another one. So let's do export function, and we'll just call modify object. And let's create some sort of object to modify here. So above this divide function, let's do a class here, and we'll just do test class or something, right? And let's just give us a couple values here. Let's just do like a UUID. We'll do like string, and that's because it's strict, I believe. Let's just do an interface in. Interface, I test, and UUID string. Let's just do a name string, right? So this is something that you would probably use these for with like Redux, is testing like Redux and whatnot. You could use it for any other like functions you have. So first things first, we want to pass in an object. Let's just do test object, and we're going to want to make this of type iTest. And then let's just pass in a UUID of type string. And what we want to do here is we want to do constant value equals UUID. You don't have to do it this way, but I kind of want to show you guys a little bit about no coalescing with Jest here, so that way you can understand that concept as well. So let's take our value, and then we are going to do test object dot, we're going to be mutating this, or dot UUID, sorry, equals UUID. So we're going to be able to mutate this, right? So let's go ahead now, or equals value, sorry. And let's create a constant test object here. We're going to give this iTest. And let's go ahead and import iTest here. I don't know if I exported this. Export interface. So now we have iTest. We need to give it a UUID. Let's just leave that blank. Let's give it a name. And we'll just put my name in here. Yep. So now what we want to do is we want to describe this function. Something you can also do is just like go here and copy the function name, paste in the function name, and then we're going to open this up. What we want to say is it. So what do we want this to do? So if no value is supplied, right? If no UUID is supplied, we wipe the UUID from the object. So now what we can do is we can do expect this function, modify object, with, so we'll just do some sort of undefined for right now, and then let's just pass in some sort of new UUID, and then we want it .to match snapshot. We want it to match our snapshot. So obviously this guy, we don't want it to be undefined. We're going to create this guy. But something that we want to do so that we were reducing the amount of code that we are technically writing, so we're not consistently writing the same code over and over again. We're going to go down here and we're going to npm tag d low dash, because we're going to make use of some clone functions that they have. And then Jest has a very good function here called before each. So before each test is done, we're going to do this thing here. Let's do let tests equals, and then we'll just give it a blank object here. And then before each, we're going to say tests equals clone, because we want to clone the test object. So this way we're forcing us to get a new test object every single time that we run each test, right? So there's a function for before each as well as after each. There's also before all and after all, so you guys can take use of those if you need to. And then let's just do tests here. And why do you not like this? Okay, because we gotta do as I test. All right, so we gotta type that as I test, so that way we can do this. And now we're using a snapshot here, but we're handling the idea that there is one, right? So what we want to say is if no UUID is specified, or oh wait, that's this one, we just did that. So let's leave this and put this to undefined, right? String, okay, let's do string or undefined. Since we are doing strict, it is very, very strict, or undefined. So now we can do undefined there. So if no UU or modifies the object, if a UUID is supplied. So we want to make sure that it modifies the object when a UUID is supplied. So let's expect modify object with tests. And then we don't want to do this. We want to do new UUID. And here we can just do the .to match snapshot again. And now whenever we run this test, it should run both of these tests. And since this is a test and this is a test, this will happen before each. So that way we'll get a fresh object before each test is run, because you never in tests want to have one test rely on another. So let's go ahead and run npx jest tac u. This will generate our snapshots. I think the first time you run it, you shouldn't have to worry about that. Can't find a declaration for Lodash. npmi tech save tech dev at types / Lodash. Oh wait, I messed up on the configuration. So let's go ahead and yeet that file, that folder, and we'll come back in here for our coverage directory and we'll get rid of that. Because we don't want the test match to be here, we only want the coverage directory, right? So like if we test match these, it's going to pull our coverage directory. So yeah, my entire bad on that one. Let's run that again. Yeah, that was very much my problem. Okay, so now we've done that, we can see that it has indeed we're finished. So now we can go up to the snapshots and we can see this. This guy's going to be undefined. But let's go ahead and, so this is happening because we're doing mutating. So let's go to our test file and we can see these guys here. Let's back that out and we'll put it in above it, and then we can expect tests to match snapshot. And we are going to do the same thing here. And then we want to expect tests to match snapshot, right? So you want to make sure that if you're doing it this way, instead of returning an object and you're just mutating through a variable, that you're calling this mutating tests and then expecting tests to match the snapshot. So let's run that npx jest taq again. And then if we go back into our snapshots file, we should see that these are updated and actually have a object. So if no UUID is supplied, we wipe the UUID, which it wasn't there to begin with, so it stays. Modifies the object if UUID is supplied. We pass it to new UUID, and it does modify the object into new UUID. Okay, so we know that that's working. One thing I'm going to show you real quick as well is coverage. We have this iCove report. Let's go ahead and drag this over into a web browser, or just go ahead and I guess navigate over to it because my thing does not want to work today. Just dragging it out. Jest video. Alright, so they give us these nice coverage reports here. And these coverage reports allow you to see like if all your tests and everything was evaluated. So say if I didn't supply an undefined, this would be yellow because it was never hit, right? It would like highlight it as yellow. So if I didn't pass in an undefined value here, this would say, oh yeah, we didn't reach this, so it's not necessarily needed with the provided information. Or you just create a test situation that can basically cover that, which is what we did using the undefined instead of passing a string in all the time, because then UUID would never be undefined. So yeah, that's basically going to be it for Jest testing. I appreciate you all for watching. Sorry for the later uploads. Just been very, very busy with work and freelancing stuff recently. Hoping it clears up here soon. But yes, I hope you guys enjoyed the content. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos, and thank you all for watching. Peace out.